Oliver, Mr. Oliver's resource page. Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver's resource page. Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver, Mr. Oliver's resource page. All right, y'all. Unit 5, Lesson 23 homework. Let's get right into it. So I went ahead because today is all about we're multiplying decimals, but we're kind of changing the numbers that we're dealing with. Early on, I think it was Unit 5, Lesson 20, we were doing the same thing, multiplying decimals, but our answers were all, it was decimal by decimal, so our answers were kind of less than 1, okay? So now we're dealing with when we're multiplying decimal numbers, but we're going to have answers that are greater than 1, okay? So I say all that to say this, the steps are going to be the same, except we're going to add a step. We're going to add a first step. So I went ahead and put our original steps for multiplying decimals. I think it's right above me, either to the right or to the left, we'll see. But we're going to add a step beforehand. I would like for you to estimate your answer ahead of time. This is super important because when you do go back to place that decimal, you really do need to get a good estimate of what your answer should be. So I've been kind of letting stuff slide. Some of us been skipping our estimation with some of our decimal stuff in the past, but now I really need us to lock in. I need to see that we're practicing estimation. And when I talk about it, mainly referring to estimation to the nearest whole number, okay? So that's our first step. Estimate your product of what it's going to be by rounding each decimal to the nearest whole number. And then you're going to do the rest of the steps that we got, okay? Rewriting it without the decimal, solving, multiplying just as usual, recognizing the decimal places in the original problem, and placing that decimal in the correct spot, okay? So it's the same steps, except the first step that we're going to add is estimating what your answer is going to be. All right, now that we've got our steps, we're going to go ahead and apply these steps. Like I said, our first thing that we are going to do is estimate. So I'm going to go ahead and put these two numbers in my placement value chart. We got 6 and 8/10, and we have 1 and 9/10. So when we look at 6 and 8/10, we're trying to round to the nearest whole number, which is our ones place, which means our tenths place is going to tell us whether that 6 is going to rest at a 6 or rise to a 7. And since our 8 in the tenths place is higher than 5, we're going to round that 6 and 8/10 to 7. Okay? So now let's take a look at 1 and 9/10. We're going to do the same thing. There's a 1 in our ones place, so either that 1 is going to rest at 1 or rise to 2. All right? When we look, there's a 9 in the tenths place, which is larger than 5, which means it's going to soar to 2. All right, so now we have 7 times 2, or 7 times 2 equals 14. So our estimation is that our answer has to be somewhere around 14. And that's going to help us distinguish if our answer is correct after we place our decimal. All right, we got our estimation out the way. So now we're ready to get to work. Like I said, so 7 times 2, our estimation is 14. So we know our answer has to be somewhere around 14. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's go ahead and rewrite this problem without the decimals. Just do straight up 68 times 19. All right, first thing we do, we always put our, our placement 0 in our second row in the ones place. And then just go and multiply like regular. 9 times 8 is 72. Drop your 2, raise your 7, and then 9 times 6 is 54, plus 7 is 61. So that makes our first row at 612, and our second row is going to be pretty easy. 1 times 8, and then 1 times 6, so our second row is 680. When we do our math, our bottom row is going to be 2 plus 0 is 2, 1 plus 8 is 9, 6 plus 6 is 12. So our bottom row is going to say 1,292, okay? Now let's take a look at our estimate. If we had to put our decimal point in there, and we know our estimate has to be around 14. How would we, sorry, I got something on my lip, but where do y'all think our decimal point is going to go? Let's take a wild guess, okay? Even before we do what we need to do. I would probably be guessing that our decimal point is going to go in between the 2 and the 9, okay? But let's actually do our, in our original problem, it's 6.8, 6 and 8 tenths times 1 and 9 tenths. So we have 2 decimal places. You have that 8 and 6.8 and the 9 and 1.9. So that's 2 decimal places in our original problem, which means our answer has to have 2 decimal places also. So we would have to put that in between our 2 and our 9. So that's what I want you guys to start doing. I want you guys to, obviously the problem is letting us know, it tells us 2 decimal points in the original problem, so we need to have 2 decimal places in our answer. So that's one way to know that, yeah, the decimal point is in the right place. But you also have to consider your estimation, okay? Knowing that our answer 12 and 92 hundredths is close to 14 lets us know that that's the correct place for the decimal point. Okay, so now you got 2 different ways. Okay, first you can tell by knowing that in our original problem there's 2 decimal places, so our answer has to have 2 decimal places. But I also want you to use the estimate to check it. Okay, look at it and be like, hey, okay, my estimation was 14 and now my answer says 12 and 92 hundredths. You know, 12 and 92 hundredths is pretty close to 14. So that's a safe bet. Okay. All right. Let's discuss my expectations for the rest of the problems. You're going to do like 3 more problems that are very similar to the ones that I just did. My expectations are that I see, the first thing I want to see is that estimation. I want to see the estimation process. Go ahead and round both of the factors to the nearest whole number and let me know what your estimation is. Then, of course, you're going to go ahead and practice all the other steps. Rewrite the problem without the decimal points. I want to see you do that and then show me your multiplication. Show me that you know how to identify the placement values in the original problem and place the decimal point in the correct place value. Okay? Then take a look. Compare your answer to your estimation and make sure it makes sense, okay? This is what I'm looking for, that you practice the steps more than I'm even looking for the correct answer, okay? I want to see that you've shown the steps, okay, and shown the strategies, all right?
4 tenths, hundreds, thousands, to the right, tenths, hundreds, thousands, placement value, tenths, hundreds, thousands, to the right, tens, hundreds, thousands, placement value, tens, hundreds, thousands, to the right, tens, hundreds, thousands, placement value, tens, hundreds, thousands, to the right, tens, hundreds, thousands, placement value. 1 tenth equals 10 hundred equals 100,000. Yeah, we getting 1 tenth equals 10 hundredths equals 100,000. Yeah, we getting money. 1 tenth equals 10 hundredths equals 100,000. Yeah, we getting 1 tenth equals 10 hundredths equals 100,000. Yeah, we getting money. Tens, hundreds, thousands, to the right, tens, hundreds, thousands, placement value, tens, hundreds, thousands, to the right, tens, hundreds, thousands, placement value.